Cheers.
Cheers.
Here's
to a good flight.
We're rolling here, so what's your question?
Dennis, I'm dying to know if you had a chance to fly only one business class product, where would you fly and what airline would you fly?
It would have to be Qatar Q Suite, definitely. And where I would fly? Well, without a doubt, one of the world's most iconic cities, and that would be Greensboro, North Carolina. Without a doubt.
Well, we're still working on that Qatar service, but we've got our hopes up.
Yeah, well, it's without a doubt it will happen. Thanks, mate.
Absolutely.
It's been great having you here.
Yeah, good to see you. You know.
You should visit more often.
Count me in. Hey, see you in the skies.
I'm meeting a real celebrity. I got to meet a real YouTube celebrity.
So I'll sign autographs later.
Ooh. The question I get asked all the time is, how come I travel so much and how do I pay for all of this travel? Well, I'm very, very lucky. I help manage the family travel business, Bunnik Tours. We've got an office in Sri Lanka and one in Egypt, and we sell tours all over the place. So I get to travel a lot, and luckily work pays for it. Most of the trips I do, in fact the bulk of them, are work-related trips. Work for long-haul travel will pay for business class, and I'll often use points to upgrade to first class. Some people have asked about Bunnik Tours. That's our brand here in Australia. We create small group tours for Australian travellers. Australia's a long way from everywhere. We have long holidays, so our tours are really designed to capture the places that we visit, the essence of the countries we visit, and they're designed specifically for Australian travellers, so they tend to be longer, have more free time for a bit of independent exploration as well. And in addition to Bunnik Tours, we've got our second brand that we've recently launched. It's the Small Group Touring Company. We launched this in 2018 in the USA and early 19 in Australia. Now, these are shorter tours than our traditional Bunnik tours, and they're designed for a worldwide market. We're selling the whole world: Europe, Asia, South America, the Middle East, Africa, and we'll be expanding that program a lot, so look out for that one. Very excited about the Small Group Touring Company. I'll put the links to both the Small Group Touring Company and Bunnik Tours in the description below. Thank you so much for all of the questions that have come in. There have been so many. I'll try and get through them as quickly as possible, so unfortunately I won't be able to credit everybody. There's lots of similar questions in there. First question: One World, Star Alliance or SkyTeam? For me, it's One World. They're dominant here in Australia, with Qantas being a member of One World. My first ever business and first class experience. First business class experience was back in 1989 with British Airways. Mum was working for them at the time. We got an upgrade. I was only 19 and it was fantastic. Loved that flight. That was when British Airways was still the world's favourite airline. So that's why I'm a bit sad to see where they are today. My first class experience was my very first video on this channel. A Qantas points upgrade from business to first class on the A380. That was a very, very special flight indeed, and I still have those pajamas. Any airlines that I haven't flown that I'd really like to? None spring to mind. I'd like to fly every airline out there. There isn't an airline that I wouldn't want to try at some stage. Any countries that I haven't been to that I really want to go to? Yes, definitely. There's Iceland, Romania, Bulgaria. I'd love to see Namibia, go down to Antarctica, Nepal, Bhutan. Haven't been there, love to go there. So the world is an amazing place. I'm going to keep travelling as long as I possibly can. Question about airlines phasing out first class in favour of business class. The Qatar Q Suite is a really good example of this. I don't think Qatar will have first class once they get rid of their A380s. I think it's a little bit sad. I think there is a place for first class travel. Hopefully it'll stick around for quite some time yet. That said, business class is getting very, very good these days. A related question: the difference between business and first class, is the difference big enough, and does it justify the price increase? For some airlines, yes. I think Emirates is a really good example of an airline that has a very big difference between business class and first class. Qantas as well. A company like Qatar, probably the difference isn't as big, so the cost justification probably isn't there. One of the questions I get asked a lot is why I don't do hotel reviews or travel videos or city reviews of the places I visit. The reality is, when I'm travelling, most of the time I'm travelling for work and I just don't have the time. if you're going to do a hotel review, you need to check out all the facilities. And sadly, most of the time I'm just racing through, or have got various meetings, so can't indulge in everything the hotel has to offer. Same with the cities. That said, I have spent a few days here in New York now, and it's a fantastic city. My tip here, get away from the tourist areas, just wander through the back streets of this city. You'll be rewarded with some fantastic views, great little coffee shops, and you can even find some real New Yorkers, and you'll have a great time. I'll answer. Okay, you're on.
All right, Dennis, favorite PJs or what?
Now, before I answer this question, we've got to say massive shout out, congratulations to Jason here, who's actually getting married here today.
Thank you.
In New York, to Michelle. We've just spoken to her on the phone and wished her all the best for a fantastic wedding. Well, it was cheers to a great wedding, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yes. Favourite PJs? The Emirates first class PJs. They are the most comfortable. I had flew for a week and didn't take them off. They were fantastic. That said, the ones that I probably wear the most, don't wear PJs very often, is the United Airlines ones. Very thin, and they're great for those nights where it's just a little bit cool.
Great.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All the best for a fantastic wedding, man.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
All right.
What is the best airport lounge in your opinion, and why?
I reckon the best airport lounge is the Turkish Airlines one at Ataturk Airport in Istanbul. Now I know they're in the process of moving to the new airport, so be interested to see what that's like. What makes that lounge so good, one, it was massive, and two, Turkish Airlines are using that as a massive advert for their culture and for Turkey. So they've got heaps of different cultural aspects, especially around food and beverage, and the way that the lounge is decorated. So if you're ever flying Turkish Airlines and you're flying business class, definitely check out the lounge there.
What was your best and worst flight experience and why? Hard, soft, and product, and the crew.
I actually haven't had many bad experiences. Probably the worst flight experience I've had was on a South African Airlines. It was 787 back in the 90s, coming out of Johannesburg. It was fully loaded, and we were hit by wind shear. Even the crew were really nervous, so that was a bit dodgy. Best flight experience I've had, first class, it'd have to be the Etihad. They have got the best first class hard product out there. Onboard service was very good too, with your onboard butler. Business class, the Q Suite, I think with Qatar is the best hard product out there. Their crew have also been consistently really good. I think any airline where the crew are engaged will give you a great flight experience, even if the hard product is not that great.
Hello Dennis, Paul Stewart here from Wollongong. I hope you're doing well. Look, I've got two questions for you. Now the first one is, which passenger airline do you think has the most stupid electronic window shades that are in the most darkest setting, don't actually block sunlight, so gingers across the world get sunburnt whenever they fly, and then when you want to actually have a look out the window and enjoy the view at 40,000 feet, the crew have them locked in the most darkest setting? Do you think that might be the Boeing 787 or maybe the Dreamliner? Now the next question I have is actually on behalf of a friend of mine who's quite keen to know, because you travel and spend so much time living out of a suitcase, how do you manage to maintain such a luscious head of hair? They're quite keen to know details, quite specific ones about shampoo, conditioners, herbal remedies, doses, things like that. So if you could let me know, then I'll happily pass them on to him or her, them, someone else. Anyway, thanks Dennis.
Thanks for that, Paul. I don't think the first one was actually a question. That sounded more like the ravings of somebody who doesn't understand the greatest or appreciate the greatest airline window ever invented. I do agree though, the crew just need to stop playing with the buttons. Leave it to the passengers and everybody will be happy. Now your second question about my luscious head of hair, the best advice that I can give you, your friend, is a trick that I used. I used to have very similar hair to your friend or yourself. And I had almost none. What I did is every night before I went to bed, I would rub Nutella onto my scalp, and one day I woke up with this hair. It was brown, but then I started dyeing it grey. So you could do that too. Give that a go. Now, a lot of people have been asking about my pajama collection, and here it is. These are the big ones. This is the first class pajama set. We've got Lufthansa, Thai, Cathay, Swiss Air, Qantas, including here a very old one, my very first Qantas first class flight. They're the old ones. couple more Emirates ones like the one I'm wearing, and Etihad from that A380 apartment, first class apartment. Then over here, these are the real heroes. These are the airlines that provide pajamas in business class. We've got Qatar, we've got the famous Qantas pajama with the kangaroo, and the United Airlines one. My tip, always wear pajamas when they're available, and a good business class always has pajamas available. Will I ever do the Perth to London direct flight on Qantas? Yes, one day I will. No plans this year, but one day I will. Question about what's more important on a business or first class flight. The hard product, the physical seat, or the soft product, that is the in-flight service. Well, I'll tell you, the crew are the biggest determining factor of a flight being a good flight or a great flight, or in that fact, a terrible flight. It all comes down to how engaging they are, how much they love their job, but also in the attitude of the passengers. The vibe that we give off is very important too. So always be friendly to the crew. They're doing a job, let's make their job easier, and you'll have a much better flight as well. Do I touch the outside of the aircraft every time I board? Yes, I do. A little bit of superstition, and it's now become a habit, so I wouldn't board a flight without doing that. How much time do I spend away from home? Look, in an average year, I'd probably do 6 or 7 international trips. I try to have them as short as possible, so they'll range from 4 or 5 days right up to the longest trip is about 2.5, 3 weeks. I don't like spending time away from home, but unfortunately that is part of my job.
G'day Dennis, welcome to the desert here in northern Qatar. Happy New Year to you and all your fans. Thank you for letting me ask this question. I'll frame it from one YouTuber to another, because I know someone else already asked about the pajamas, I'm sure, and your favorite whiskey. So it goes like this. To what extent do you think it's possible or easy to be original these days making airline vlogs when you've got so many other guys trying to do roughly the same thing? I asked because I put my champagne glass up to the camera when I was making a vlog last month, and I said, here's to a great flight. And I knew I'd just stolen one of Dennis Bunnick's lines. So, obviously I'm guilty of it too. So that's my question. Thanks very much from We Can Fly 777. And as you would say, happy travels.
Thanks, Andy. Fantastic question. And you're right, there's lots of us out here doing this, and obviously there are only so many ways to say this cabin is laid out in a 1-2-1 configuration, or this is what the seat's like, etc. So I'm actually answering this question in something that I reckon you're particularly good at, and that is walking casually through an airport and talking casually into the camera. I reckon you do that better than anyone. There are obviously lots of similarities between all of us, but then everybody has their own style and unique idiosyncrasies. So I think the clue is, or the secret is, everybody just needs to be themselves. However cringy that can be at times. I look at some of those pajama scenes and stuff I do, and they're very cringy. But they're part of what I do now. So I'd say keep saying cheers, here's to a great flight. In fact, I reckon all YouTube flight reviews should include that somewhere. Cheers, here's to a great flight.
Do you believe that supersonic air travel will ever become plausible again after the demise of the Concorde?
I'd love to see the Concorde come back. I used to see that flying over my house where I was living in London for a while. Hopefully one day it will. I'm not sure though, because it's obviously very, very expensive. But yeah, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
If you could fly to the moon, would you?
To the moon? Yes, definitely. Definitely. Although I would want to make sure I could come back. I would never go to Mars.
If you could rank each of the continents on their airlines, where would they all stand?
I would say it'd have to be Asia, because that technically includes the Middle East as well, so the Gulf carriers. Just the service standards of your traditional Asian carriers, the Singapore Airlines, the Cathays, and then the Gulf carriers, which I think are being led by Qatar at the moment in terms of service standards and onboard hard product. After that would be Australia. Australian carriers, or Australasia, include New Zealand in that, they really understand long-haul travel well, because we're so far from everywhere, especially in economy class. I think we set the standards there. Then after that, I reckon it's a tie for third place between the US and Europe. Both of them have got some very good carriers, and both of them got some very ordinary carriers. South America, I've really only flown LATAM, and I like them. They're doing some good things, and they've got a new business class coming up, I've just heard. Africa, again, I haven't flown enough. One airline I did find really cool was Air Rwanda, or Rwandair. I need to get more into the skies of Africa to judge that one. One of the things I would just like to say and comment on is how fantastic I think this whole aviation community has come together through both Instagram and YouTube. These guys here, Eric and Clayton in Adelaide, are obviously aviation buffs. They're friends with and have connected via the social media networks through this aviation community with the guys we've met in New York. You know, my YouTube channel wouldn't be what it is without the support of these guys, and likewise their channels on Instagram wouldn't be what they are without the support of everybody else. So, and that's one of the things I think that I've enjoyed the most out of this whole building the YouTube channel, the way that the aviation community has come together. So, well done, guys. When British Airways bring out their new A350 business class, will I try it? Yes, definitely. Got a question, do I want to become a pilot? No, I don't think I'd be any good as a pilot. I prefer sitting in the comfy seats at the back. Well, not at the very back, obviously. Time for a drink from the bar. Cheers. Let's talk about plans for 2019. It's going to be another really, really busy year. Lots of flights coming up. New airlines this year will include KLM, the 747. I'm flying with the Queen of the Skies, looking forward to that. Delta One, their A350 product with their Delta One business class. I've got a Qatar first class flight booked. I've got some other Qatar flights booked with some aircraft I haven't flown before. Some more Singapore Airlines coming up, the new Sri Lanka business class, or the newer Sri Lankan Airlines business class. I'm flying Kuwait Airlines in February, so I'm looking forward to that. And no doubt a whole lot of other stuff that hasn't been booked yet. So please do stick around on this channel. The next few reviews coming up. Got the Air Canada review coming up not too far away. I would also just like to say thank you to everybody. When I started this YouTube channel 3 years ago, it was just a hobby. I never thought in my wildest dreams that it would ever become what it has become. I've met some incredible people along the way, my fellow YouTubers, as well as a whole load of non-YouTubers, people that have just come up to me at airports and on flights and at various other places to say how much they appreciate the videos. Also, thank you very much for all your comments. The support has been fantastic. I really, really appreciate it, and it's what keeps me going. It's very, very humbling. And look, I understand I am very, very lucky that I get to travel around the world. I get to see some amazing sights and experience the luxury of flying. I will never ever take it for granted. This is an amazing world full of amazing people, and whilst there are various politicians out there and others who will try and split us up and focus on the differences between people, I think it's the things that bring us together, right? Travel and the similarities we've all got within our cultures, etc. That is what makes this world such a fantastic place. So here's to a very happy, healthy and enjoyable 2019 for all of us. Cheers.